Hello, everybody. It's an absolute privilege for us to have Dr. Ila Goyal joining us in this third discussion in this series, Navratri. So, Dr. Ila Goyal is a very known name in the circles around Navi Mumbai into the educational sector as well as into the entrepreneur part, plus the social sectors as well. However, for the listeners who are listening to her for the first time, I would request Dr. Ila Goyal to introduce herself and share her journey with us.
Hello everyone, I am Dr. Ila Goyal. Uh, I'm a PhD in management by my education, the MCA and a physics graduate from Delhi University. I'm the founder for Me Education Technologies and Consultancy Services along with Dr. Mahendra Gupta. So we have this small enterprise of ours in Navi Mumbai. We help education institutions adopt technology and also help other corporate in terms of their HR solutions, HR tech solutions, hiring solutions. So basically, we provide a lot of tech solutions in the human capital space. Um, I was also a professor at SIS College of Management Studies for 10 years. That's where I got to know of a lot of um, basically a lot of my experience in what is lacking and what can we do in terms of bringing up the Indian higher education. That's where my experience, I got all my experience from. So while teaching the MC and NNS students. And previous to that, I also was working with Tech Mahindra in Pune and Mumbai offices and Hughes Software Systems, which is now called Flextronics in Gurgaon. I'm a Delhiite, but now for the last 20 years I have been staying in Mumbai, so now you can call me a Mumbaiker.
We would like to understand a bit more of this particular aspect here. I think it's a huge transition that you have personally undergone, and your insights would help the viewers understand how that transition worked for you.
Okay, so right, Charu, I mean my transitions have been both from culture, uh, coming in from Delhi to Mumbai. So there has been a lot of culture transitions as well as professional transitions. Working in the industry first and then moving on to a teaching job for quite a few years and then back to industry as such, like with an entrepreneurship. So yes, professionally as well as personally, there have been many transitions that I have gone through. So talking about Delhi to Mumbai transition, it's and culturally those two cities are absolutely apart. Delhi is flamboyant, loud, casual. People are more fun. Mumbai is business. Mumbai is more professional. It's sober. It's stick to the point type kind of a thing. Fast paced, 24-hour city. Delhi is like only morning till evening kind of, no late nights kind of city. So yeah, transition has been a lot adjusting to the new culture here in Mumbai coming from Delhi. Professionally, being an employee in a tech company, from there coming to a teaching job, that itself was one transition, a big transition, because the requirements of a tech job, working in an IT company, from there coming into teaching, that to Mumbai University teaching, it was very different. Then I got into research work, so that itself was a very different experience. Writing articles, writing research papers, presenting in conferences. That is very different from giving presentations to your team in your office. So, that transition was very different. Listening to your guide, giving you inputs as compared to that, you're making presentations in your office. And then the bigger transition was now when I decided to start, when me and Dr. Gupta decided to start this enterprise. That transition was very, I think, the biggest transition till now, more than the Mumbai Delhi culture also. Because I don't come from a business background. My parents and practically everybody in my family has been in teaching. So this was my family background also doesn't have any business experience. But what while I was teaching and while I was doing my PhD, what I realized was that there are a lot of gaps in this edtech sector. What we talk about in our colleges, especially the higher education institutions, about adopting technology and having technology in the college, what we talk about is very different from reality. We really don't have it. Also, actually, this enterprise of ours started with a small product called Campus, which we started for preparing students for campus placements. While teaching at postgraduate level, placement was seemed to be the most important aspect. And even though the students were doing well in their studies, but when it came to actual placements, the numbers were not that promising. Even very good students were not able to crack the placement rounds. And that was the question that made me wonder that why is that so? So we realized that students don't really know how to prepare for the placements. And from that problem statement, being the researcher for the last so many years, decided that okay, we should do something about it. And that's how Campus was born. It's a platform for preparing students for campus placement. We do a lot of activities in class as well as out of class online activities, where we teach the students on how they should go about giving an interview, how they should write their resumes, how they should appear for group discussions, what not to do, what to do, how to dress up, how to give presentations, how to talk. So there were a lot of things, even going to the extent of giving aptitude training sessions. So from there, we started this journey of me education technologies. So that's about the transition and the various things that I have done in the last 20 odd years of my career.
One very peculiar thing that I've observed about MeetCS here in Nila is that you also had a very great success about retaining people, which has been the biggest challenge for many startups. So I understand that you have a very different, a very particular approach of working with the team that's there with you. So how this, can you guide the startups on this particular aspect? I think the culture that you have maintained in MeetCS is quite special.
We have been very fortunate to have some very lovely team members with us. I think that is important. And the culture is like we are all a family. It's very straightforward that we are not bosses out here, and the team members are not employees. We are all partners in this whole enterprise. And this place should be something that they should look forward to be coming here every day, every morning. It should feel like, yes, I want to go to office. It should not feel like a burden that, oh, office jana hai. Like, so it should not be like that. So yes, with the family, with the family kind of culture approach, and we practice what is called as servant leadership. The team members decide how to execute the project, the timelines and what they need. So we let them take decisions, which kind of brings in the motivation. It kind of brings in the engagement in the activity. It's not that we dictate things out here. So I think those are the things that, yeah, we celebrate birthdays. All the birthdays we celebrate. We have outings. We celebrate all the festivals. So whether it is Holi or it is Christmas, in fact, Dr. Mehta Gupta himself becomes Santa Claus for us. So the team members, with all this, they take ownership of all the actions, all the projects, all the activities that they are doing, and that is what takes them forward and takes the company forward.
Absolutely. One important transition that is happening in the education sector right now, with the COVID and the related travel restrictions, a lot of institutes are right now shifting towards the online education, right? The new education policy also talks a lot more about the skills compared to a specific format of education. So with this particular part, the tools that you are working in become absolutely important. They become the the foundation on which the newer education system would build up. So how are you seeing this opportunity building up? How are you contributing? I know that you are part of various certification bodies, so if you can throw some light on those aspects, it would be great.
Uh, so I am myself a Moodle course creator certified, and Moodle is a learning management system. That is something which, with this new education policy, I think all the education institutions should adopt. Whether they adopt the entire Moodle on their own or they take it from some vendor, but basically we are trying to provide an education which is more objective now. So it's not like, I think what NEP says is that whatever the students are studying and learning, there should be some outcome out of it. It should not
Yes.
be for the sake of it. It should not be just for the sake of getting a degree or getting grades.
Yes.
Been for years that this thought has been there with our higher education institutions, but somehow at many places they have not really been able to achieve it. But now with this NEP, definitely this is possible, and Moodle is itself is an outcome-based assessment. It has all these features already. A lot of this are customizable as well. So, like NEP says that you can allow for elective programs, and let the students go and take what they like. It should not be a very fixed curriculum kind of a thing. A lot of things that they say, all of it is possible if you are using an edtech platform, a learning management system. Um, it gives you a lot of flexibility. It works on your competencies, it works on your skills, and whatever you are learning, there will be an outcome out of it.
Absolutely. I understand that you have integrated gamification in a big way in your tools, right? So can you give us some insights on how gamification comes into all these systems?
Yes. So if you remember, as a child also, when small children, young children, they go to play school, um, for doing any activity, even if you have to color an apple or something like that, whatever small little activity that the students are doing in the play school, the teacher used to give a star on their hand or something like that. And believe me that irrespective of whether the apple was colored red or green or yellow or blue, they would get that star. And they were very happy with that one little star that they were getting. To the extent that they would not wash their hand for the entire evening after coming back home, and they would just keep showing that star to everybody. So gamification is something that we should reward the student for doing that. So we're talking of the EdTech sector, but the same applies for the HR Tech and the other platforms and the products that we have. When we reward a person for just trying to do an activity at least, it motivates them to do it better the next time. So we have integrated gamification, this same concept, with both our EdTech and HR Tech platform. For example, if you want to have punctuality in your organization, as an example, one aspect is that you ask everyone to come at a certain time, and if they don't come, you either deduct some marks out of it or you deduct a half day kind of a thing. So that is like demotivating. It's like forcing. The other way of doing it is that if people are coming on time, you give them something out of it. Maybe a few reward points, and at the end of the month, with those reward points, they redeem some organization merchandise, something like that. This will bring in the motivation. There will be a positive reinforcement towards that particular task to do. So that's how we have integrated gamification in our. That's the idea behind integrating gamification in our products.
Great. Two things that I would like to ask specifically to you, Ila, is one is what would be your message for people who want to make that kind of a transition? It takes a lot of courage to step out of academics or, for that matter, any kind of comfort zone into entrepreneurship, right? Although you may have a great idea, you had a very valid gap that you had identified, and then you followed your passion into this part. What would be your advice to people who want to take similar calls?
Journey is tough. I would say that if you are really, if you really want to do this one, yes, be prepared that the journey is going to be very tough. Well, any transition, it is tough. Entrepreneurship is a lot tougher, and you need to hang in there. You need to be there. It's not like it's going to succeed in 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. Nobody has this magic number which is like, okay, be there for so many years and you'll make it. Some things may just click in a couple of years. Some things may take a longer time to click. But if your conviction is strong enough and this is what you want to do, this is what gives you real happiness and satisfaction, then you just be there. That is my advice to all those who want to make any transition. Coming out of the comfort zone is tough. So I have two grown-up kids. I did my PhD after my kids were born, after my kids were in school. I mean, while they were in school. So being a working mother, trying to do PhD with my husband having a high-end job, that itself was tough. And now moving from there to an entrepreneurship position, it's tougher. But my advice to all those who want to do this is be prepared for a rough road. But you will definitely reach your goals if you be there.
Absolutely. Thank you for these insights. Another very important point, a lot of girls, particularly in this particular transition, are trying to identify what are the opportunities that would open for them. We are seeing the work from home culture coming up. So would that mean that there would be a lot of opportunities opening for mothers who want to resume their career, or the girls who want to balance between the family and their professional requirement? How do you see those opportunities opening up, and what would be the way for them to prepare to grab these opportunities?
Absolutely right. With the work from home culture coming up, now a lot of organizations will also be opening up to having more women and girls, because earlier this was one challenge that organizations as well as women used to have. Now it's more work from home, that kind of culture is getting adopted, then definitely both sides will be more open to collaborations and working together. In all, for women, I would still like to tell them that in case they want to resume their jobs, resume their careers back, whether it is work from home or it is going to office, they need to have a lot more discipline in terms of handling, because ultimately they will have to juggle between both the things, whether it is work from home or it is going to office, they will still have to manage the house as well as office. They will have to do it. The Indian society is still is not it's not advanced to that level that we women have the luxury of not doing anything kind of a thing. But still, women can do a lot. They are a lot more powerful and stronger than men. I'm not a feminist, but I
I
strongly
completely
believe
agree
that.
on this. Yeah,
So they just need to um, have a little more discipline, and they need to have that strength. They can definitely do a lot better, especially now with work from home. We see organizations opening up to having them more.
absolutely. What would be your advice to the youngsters, the college kids right now who are preparing for the industry, who are expected to come to the industry this year or next year? How they should be preparing themselves?
They need to stay positive. It's a very difficult time. Classes are not there, not happening very regularly maybe, or happening, classes are being conducted, but sometimes network connectivity, electricity connectivity. So there are issues. There are difficulties. Maybe the Wi-Fi is not that great at their home. They have only one device amongst the family members, siblings, and they have to share the device amongst themselves. So it is a difficult time when, especially online classes getting conducted. It does not have uh, teachers are also new to this entire setup. Schools and colleges are also new to this setup. Students are also new. So maybe your home doesn't have that comfort where you can get a peaceful place to study. So definitely this is a very different stage. It's a transition that the entire, not just the students, teachers, school, coaches, all of them, all of them are facing this transition. But it's ultimately just a phase. It's going to go away, and life will definitely be back to a normal track. It's just taking a little time. So be positive, continue your studies whichever way you can. There are lots of material available, ebooks available online. Maybe make WhatsApp groups with your friends, study groups with your friends. Whichever way you can. Teachers are very helpful. They understand all these difficulties that students are facing. Speak to your teachers, discuss your problems with them. You can discuss at times your personal problems as well as your academic problems with them. Do not let this phase of being at home all the time get on to you. Get out and do some exercises. Get some fresh air. Walking, cycling, all those activities are very much possible. So maintain a good health, maintain a routine, and that will help them study well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Ida Goyal, for these amazing insights. We look forward to talking to you soon, and we seriously wish that pretty soon we come out of this pandemic and we are able to have a formal interaction with all the viewers here as well. Thank you so much for taking out time and sharing these valuable insights with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charul. Thank you for giving this opportunity.